Hallo alle miteinander, wie geht's? Hoffentlich geht's euch gut. Es ist jetzt 5 Uhr morgens bei mir und tja, jetzt geht's los. Good morning everybody. I hope everyone's having a good morning as we get started. Wir können das ein bisschen größer machen. Ups. So. So. Ah, wunderbar. Jetzt. Okay. Vielleicht müssen wir das wieder ein bisschen nach unten. So ist gut. Let's get away this way. Okay, und dann. So. Noch eins. Wunderbar. Nehmen wir auch den mit. Bis dahin. Gut. So. Hier. Zackidi zack, zack. Auch noch. Zack. Zack. Nein. Interface, General. Oh, was habe ich denn weggetan? Snap to vectors. Oh no. Oh no. I'm definitely not doing that. Scanning's horrible. There, focus. Enable gestures. No idea what's going on, to be honest. No idea. Oh well, we'll figure it out later. What is going on? I thought I'd get rid of that. That will drive me crazy. So I learned something with Clip Studio, which I really need to start getting into, which is that when doing these little, I can do vector lines, and I can literally just do stuff like this, and all these little extra lines that I have, I can actually come in and erase them. Like I can come in and erase them easily, like click of the button erase. So we're really gonna have to start looking at some Clip Studio here, because if that's the case, oh my, you know. So yeah, looks like we're gonna have to break this down to I won't go any further. I don't want to push it back any further, camera and all. Although I really should probably figure out a way to do this, so I can actually draw on it without. I need a smaller keyboard, because this thing is too big and in the way. Oops. Yeah. Like, yeah. So, you know, these your oh my Mandela, I'm sorry. Why are you staying up so late? Were you at least doing something fun? Because, you know, then it will all be worth it, right? You know what I mean? So if you're doing something worth it, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. day job. Ugh. That sucks. Well, then I'm glad that I can be your barometer to when you need to leave. And we're like, you know what? I think it's time to call it quits. Kaiser's streaming. It's time to go to bed. We found this new, very new album from, or not new album, at least new album to me, from Harris Heller, who's doing all this free stream music. Ugh. Awesome. Super chill music. You're not an alarm clock. Okay, neither, I guess. I'm okay with that. I can be your Batman alarm clock if needed. And start my streams off by being like, whomp, 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 whomp. Monda, it's time to go to bed. Take your butt to bed. But I have to say, it is nice for you to join me. All right. Very nice of you to join me. Don't want you to think that I'm like, man, get out of here. I don't want you here. That's not the case. Not the case at all. Where are you again? I forget. I'm sorry. I get international people during the, not necessarily during this, for me, rise and grind where I'm up early, but later on in the day and stuff, I get some international people, and so I forget which international person is where. Right now, I'm in San Diego. Oh, that's right. It is early for you. Or late. Like, it is early or late. It is. It's really late. Like, okay, enlighten me again on your day job. That would keep you up to 2:30 in the morning. I can tell you right now, that's late, man. The only thing you should be, like, if you're an artist, yeah, you're an artist. Time means nothing. But other than that, man, and I'm the first one to say that, sleep is for the weak. But as I get older, some of you, I start to realize, sometimes you need sleep. Tools and applications mostly. That's right. Okay. That's fair. You're like an artist. Well, you are an artist. If you're writing code and stuff, you are an artist. Poison Pog, thank you so much for that follow. It means a lot. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Ninja Empire. I hope that you enjoy yourself here. We draw ninjas, fantasy ninjas. That's kind of what I do. I'm working on a project called Ninja Empire, and currently what I'm doing is I'm doing the chibi style, my squashed proportion style for an animated pitch. So that's what I'm doing right now. Animated pitch. And I figured it'd be easier to do this with some fun proportions than the typical comic book style, which is what I normally do, which I can show you here in a second. Just a quick second, and I'll show you just a version. I'm not going to go through a lot of them, just something that I've done that I think is cool. So, this guy. Here's an example. So that's my comic style. It's the style that I normally do. So, doing this is what I'm going to be doing for the comic. Like, I'm very much enjoying this style, so I want to keep that up for the comic. And then this chibi style is what I'm going to be doing for my like video game slash cartoon. So yeah, I'm trying, and I'm trying to get a lot more of these done, so I'm going to be streaming a lot more. Right, just to try and get some of it done. Coding is a creative endeavor. It just takes a lot more time to do than I want. Otherwise, I'd be able to do more visual stuff. Yeah, no, like I'm not trying to take anything away from your your coding, because I know for a fact that it's a creative endeavor. Because I used to be the department chair for visual game programming for a college that I used to work for. So I know what goes into it, and I know all the work that happens and all that kind of good stuff. So I hear you. I think it's very creative. I'm a proponent. I'm always telling people that math, I'm like, you have to understand that math is as creative as anything else. A lot of people look at me like I'm crazy, but I'm like, I'm telling you. So Poison, how you doing today? You doing all right? Is it early or late for you? Because we've already established that Mandala is in California, and it is very late or early, depending on how your perspective works. Late, unfortunately. All right. Why do you say unfortunately? He's like, do you want to be in bed? Or, I'm in the mountain time zone. I should have been in bed 2 hours ago. Are you at least doing something creative or, awesome? And that's the reason why you're still up? Because if you're doing something creative, that's cool, right? That's all that really matters. And I mean, and you don't have to, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm doing something creative. That's not what I mean. But, you're doing something cool, that's all that matters. Yeah, I've been messing around with the drawing, which is why I lost track of time. Yeah, that, as my father would say, that tracks. I remember I was working on a project, and I was super. I'm like, oh man, I'm into this, and I was like, yes, and I had to get up the next day. That was a bad time. Like that was really bad because I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm never gonna, I was so into it, and then I'm like, man, I might as well just stay up, because I had stayed up for far too late, and then it was like, well, at this point, what's the point? So I completely understand your frustration, but if that's what's happening, man, creative stuff is always awesome. That's all I gotta say. All right, I can lose track of time doing art stuff, and it doesn't really matter what type of art stuff, as long as it's art stuff, right? Drives my wife crazy. Which I understand as a non-artist, having stuff happen like that, and you're just like, why aren't you in bed yet? I'm like, oh. So, completely understand. I think we're just going to select this. What? That's why. You always got to remember to do a new layer. New layer, folks. Yep. It's always funny when like non-creatives don't, they don't understand, and it's fine, but they don't get it. Yeah, that's good. Alright. I do have to say, I love digital. Didn't think that would, come out of my mouth too often, but I do love how digital works. Because, for me to do this traditionally, like, oh, I'm just going to erase half of this stuff, generally does not work. So, being able to come in and just wrap and just be like, no, look, wrap it around and then erase it and not worry about it. And, as I mentioned a little earlier before everyone kind of got here, is that I'm starting to look into Clip Studio, and they have this vector brush. All right. Take care. But they have this vector brush, and so when you kind of go over things, you can actually delete up to an intersection, which is, for me, I'm like, that's freaking awesome. So I can draw these things and then be like, cut off. It's like, what? That's mind-blowing to me. So, I'm really looking forward to the fact that I can, that I can actually draw vector lines and then have an easy delete. That is amazing to me. So we're gonna be testing that out soon. Does anyone do any of you use Clip Studio Paint, because it's new to me. I know it's been around for like eons, but it's new to me, so I'm like, what is this? That was bothering me. Yeah, we might as well just go ahead and get rid of this now. Create a new layer. Oh. And you know, having a tool like this is really awesome. To where I can just come in and be like, oh, copy, paste, alright, gone. It makes life so much easier. I know that these are all normal things to most people, but as a person who has come from a time where none of this really existed, it's so fascinating to me to be able to have this kind of power at my fingertips, right? And then when I'm like teaching class and stuff like that, the youngins, right? They don't actually understand, because this is the stuff that they've grown up with. So they're like, oh, what's the big deal? Why are you so amazed, Professor Tillman? I'm like, this is awesome. Ooh, look at that tangent. Like, whew, that was horrible. Sorry, I know I ducked my head. trying to have some better posture going on when I'm doing this. Mostly because I can't actually get my chair underneath my table. I was thinking about putting it on risers, but you know, I'm gonna have to make this work. Because while I want it on risers, right now, don't know if it's the best idea. There we go. Alright, now we might as well add in these. Oh wait, try we got it this way. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, I was trying to I want to try and make these so that this would be for an animated thing, right? And I know for a fact that I've got too many details in here. Tangent Land. Just wrap one around like that. Like so. That did not have it. That one did. And oops, we need to get rid of this, like so. Does that open up? I don't know. And then I realized that this is far too big. So there we go. Easy peasy fix. Fix. Go. No. Alright, those are not going to be something we want, but I do kind of find it interesting that kind of comes and then changes into something else, right? Like it doesn't have the same texture then. So I am enjoying that. So I'm gonna stick with that. Or wait a minute, is that the problem? It is, okay. Okay. So technically, we wanted this to be more like so. So that it looked like that. What's up, Zeno? How's it going, man? Just trying to get up, you know? In 2021, trying to make sure I get my streaming in, my early morning streams, and then some work, right? Like, let's get that work. And eat something. Man's always hungry. Are you gonna eat something, or are you just gonna stay hungry? Got a plan? You're like, oh man, I want to come in and say hi, but I want to have me some pizza. Or, you know, I don't know, something. Bag of chips, right? Yeah. What chips are your favorite? Maybe you'll inspire me to go get some. Still do I like how that hot fries, oh, those are good. The hot fries are awesome. Those are good. But lately I've been getting like, I randomly went to like the dollar store, and there's these chips, right? They're like these pita chips, and they're freaking awesome. And you can find them in regular stores too, like, but I catch them at the dollar store. Hold on. These popcorners, right? Popcorners. I do the sweet and salty ones. They're kettle corn. It's popcorn made into chips, right? And they're freaking awesome. Oops, come on now, go away. Make sure I can hear it when the wife says something. But you can find these, try these out. They got a blue bag too, and I think a purple bag. So they got some nice, it's good, like they're good, and they're not, like the whole bag's only 360 calories. So, you know, that might not be something for everyone, but they're really good. Like, I enjoy them a lot. So I recommend those like all the time. And what makes it even better is that it is, like I said, you can get them at the dollar store. Like, that's one of their main display chips now. So if you are in an area that has a dollar store, you should definitely check it out. Because I went to like what was it? It wasn't Five Below. It was Bed and Body Works, so I was trying to look for something for my wife, and there, and they're like $3, and I'm like, what? I'm like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me I can get these for $1 and other people are charging $3 for them? Nope. So, just saying. So if you do end up getting them, just know that they're the cheapest at the dollar store, because they do exist. All right, getting close. And I have to say, like, the inking stage is my absolute most dreaded stage. Like, I hate inking with a passion. Like, there's nothing that I dislike more in all of like the things that I do as far as artistic endeavors. Because I mean, there's stuff that I just don't like. Like, I'm not a big 3D modeling person. Like, 3D is not something that I enjoy. It gives me many troubles, so I really don't like it. I sculpt, but I don't like 3D modeling. Weird. But this is something that I do on a regular basis, right? And so, since I do it on a regular basis, you know, it's like this is something that I do, and I hate it. I hate inking, so much so that, like, I have a hashtag. I don't think anyone else uses it, but I have a hashtag that is literally I hate inking. Like, that's my hashtag. So if I ever put up something in just black and white, that's my tag, is like I hate inking, which is always funny because people are like, oh man, but you know, your ink is so, you know, so smooth or so blah. And I'm like, that doesn't mean I have to like it, because I don't like at all. So for me to almost be done with inking makes me very happy. That part is that I really need to find an inker that is willing to work, you know, with me, because hate inking with a passion. The penciling, you know, just the beginning parts. I love just drawing with pencil. Like, that really makes me happy. And then the finishing part, like, I like the colors, so I like the first and the last step. You know, like, I love the drawing part of it, and then I love the finished aspect of it. I think those are by far my favorite. But you can't get to the end. I mean, I could learn how to start painting, but I've realized that I've tried the digital paint, I've taught the digital painting, and it takes so long. Right? Like, it takes so long for me to do, and for pretty much everyone, because they're like, oh yeah, you spent an hour and a half kind of getting the basic shape down. Now you got to spend 8 to 15 hours to get it done. And I'm like, 8 to 15 hours? I'm like, dude, I can knock out some of these characters in full color in like an hour and a half, if uninterrupted, right? Doing streaming because I like to talk, so that that doesn't work out for me. But uninterrupted, you know, an hour and a half, which means, you know, I'm looking at least 5, maybe even 6, possibly, you know, figures while you do one. Now, granted, the painting stuff looks all amazing and fantastic and stuff like that, but I think I have a thing going here, so it's not like, oh my goodness, you know, your stuff is horrid. I think people are willing to look at it and be like, you know what, that's really good. So I found my place. Let's just say that, which is something that not a lot of people, you know, actually find. sadly, because they're always trying to find what the next thing is for them, which is cool. You know, you should always be learning, but at some point you need to have something that's yours, right? You got to be like, this is what I do. You're like, all right. And it's funny because I never thought that I would be doing this like chibi thing. Never. Like I did it before, you know, like I've done chibi stuff beforehand, but didn't really think like, oh, you know what, this style is going to be something that I'm going to be doing a lot of. So, you know, I was able to find that, and it works. You know, I'm just like, oh, this style seems to be working for me. Oops. Even though I'm still trying to figure out the ins and outs, you know, I'm not perfect at it, but I've realized that this is definitely a style that I like. My coloring lends itself, I would say, quite nicely to it. So I'm not fighting it. And before I'd be like, no man, my style is comic style. It's like, I have to do this because that's what I learned. Which is stupid, by the way. Don't let inspiration run away from you just because, you know, you think it should go a certain way. Like that's just silly talk. Right? Absolutely no reason that you can't like switch up your style and be like, hey, look, I'm doing this now. You're like, oh, that's sweet. You know, there are going to be people who like the things that you used to do, which is the thing that got me to actually do this project in two different styles, because I started by doing the regular comic style, which I you know, obviously I was enjoying, and then this style popped up, right? And then I was like, oh yeah, this is the way I need to go. And then people were like, oh man, I really hope that you know, it's like, I really hope that you still do something with the comic style because I really enjoyed it. And it's like, huh. And that's why I'm doing two different styles now for my Ninja Empire project. But, you know, luckily I didn't go, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna shy away from it. So yeah. Let's see, I feel skilled enough to have a style. You know, it's what's funny is how people react to the word style, because style, like, it's not, style is the way that you interpret the world, and that's it, right? How your eye and your hand interpret the world. So everyone has a style, right? Everyone has something that they're known for. Like you look at it and like, oh wow. Now there's something that when you're like, oh well, I'm, you know, you may have not honed in on that style. You may not have something to where you're like, oh man, like everyone recognizes my style. But I'm telling you, like, you have a style, and the more you get influenced, the more you look at other people's work, the more that you look at videos and cartoons and TV shows and comics and illustrations and animations and stuff like that, you're going to be influenced by each one, right? And then you're going to take certain aspects of it, and and you're gonna incorporate that into your own style. Like you're gonna start being like, oh well, I really like this, or I really like that, or this was fun and that was fun, right? And like you're gonna start taking all these things, you're gonna put them together, and then life's gonna be great. So don't harp on the idea of style, just keep drawing, keep animating, keep sculpting, whatever the case may be, just keep doing it. And I'm telling you, it's gonna come, right? A lot of people are like, well, I want this to happen, and like I understand you're looking for a style, because all of the professionals, right? They're like, oh well, I have, clearly they have a style, but that's been years. Like they've been practicing at that for years. So don't think that you have to jump into it right away. If you don't have one, right, like a recognizable style, keep drawing. It's coming. I promise. Because I was the same way, right? I'd look at all my favorite artists that and I'm like, oh my goodness, I want to be like that. I was like, I want to be able to have something that people are like, ooh, I know exactly what that is. That's a Tillman, right? And you're like, and that's great, but it's gonna come. That's just all there's to that. It's going to come. You just have to keep at it. And the more that you actually do, right, your style will change. Your style will absolutely change, because you get more and more influence. So the more that you practice, the more that you take in or get influenced, right? So you start watching more than just your favorite TV shows or movies and stuff like that, and you actually are starting to take in more creative influences, your style will change. Like my style has changed a lot. My style has changed a lot since I started, right? And then I'm like, oh well, I found my style. Yeah, that completely changes, right? It is a thing that happens the more you're willing to be influenced. So, and that's another thing, a lot of people won't take the time to study other people, right? Like I think I'm going to start my Study With Me series back up that I was doing on YouTube, which is, it was just a live session that I did, but it stayed up on YouTube. And the thing is that what I do is, like, I'll pick an influence, right? Like one of my influences, and I'll put it down, and then I will just draw it. And I'm trying to pick out stuff that I'm like, oh, well, they're doing this. Like, oh, the eye is actually like this. Or look at how they draw the hands, right? There's only 2 knuckles here instead of 3. And, really try and learn something from my influences. And it's a pretty good practice. And I know that a lot of people will tell you not to trace. But if you have the medium that would allow you to trace, right? If you're practicing, then you should trace, right? Because they've already done it and you're trying to pick up some information from them. And so, like I said, as long as you're not trying to be like, hey, look what I did, right? It's like, hey, look what I did. I made this from scratch. Isn't it awesome that I look like Jim Lee? And you actually didn't, draw it from scratch? Then tracing is fine, right? You just come in and you trace, and you use it as practice so that your mind can remember how to do that. Like if you want to draw like Jim Lee hands, well, then you should get a whole bunch of Jim Lee comics or print it out from the internet and then trace Jim Lee hands, right? Again and again and again and again, till you feel comfortable and you're like, oh yeah, I know how this works. And then you go, all right, now let me try and draw it myself, right? And you're like, let me try. I'm literally gonna try and draw this myself. then that's, you know. So there's just so many people who have an aversion to practice and studying because they think that, oh my goodness, if I if I trace this, if I copy this, well then I'm a cheater. And I don't exactly understand where that came from. It seems very, playground rules. I was like, and then you will be banished from the playground. He's like, it didn't know it was that serious. So, yeah, in short, don't be so concerned with the idea of style, right? It's gonna come. Oops. It's gonna come. When I study other artists' techniques, I love trying to reverse engineer the process. Right. And you're just trying to, you gotta try and figure it out. And I think that is such an underrated, method of just trying to be like, all right, well, how did you do that? And since that person's not there to tell you, right? You have to come up with a way to figure that kind of stuff out. And one thing, like I said, that I've realized that really works is busting out tracing paper and then just going, all right, from what I know, I'm gonna trace this and then try and learn from it. Just like, oh, like when I was doing, if you were to go to my YouTube channel and then go all, pretty far back, but if you go far back, you can actually find the study with me. I did a couple, and we were looking at Alex Toth, and because he's one of my all-time favorites. He has such a very unique graphic style with his comics and animations and stuff like that, and I didn't realize that I was being influenced by him until I went to college and someone was like, man, your work really reminds me of Alex Toth. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And then he's like, you should go look it up. And then I found out that that he was the one who designed like all the characters from the cartoons that I loved watching. So it was like, oh wow, this guy he's literally my influence. So I was like, huh, will you look at that? So, but I would, this is on top. But I would go back and I was actually trying to figure out, and like, oh, like the way that he drew his legs, like they were in angles, and it's like, oh well, I only used this one line and it indicated a face, or it was amazing to just sit there and be like, all right, well, let's try and figure out how this is working. I enjoyed it so much. And then because I let stupid get in the way, I stopped doing it. And so I think I'm going to come back and start doing it again. Maybe it's an every month thing. And we're just like, all right, take an hour or so. And maybe it's a cool down and we'll do a study with me. I don't know. We'll have to figure something out. because like I said, I did enjoy it a lot. All right, now to get this hand that I've been dreading to do. Because hands are the bane of my existence. But with this chibi style, you know, I get to fake the funk a lot. Because it's just a bunch of shapes. Right? I don't have to really worry about all of the intricacies of a hand. I get to be like, oh look, I drew a hand. It's like, oh, you understand that it's a hand? Awesome. Then I'm not gonna try it. You know, right? It's like I'm not gonna do anything else. You understand that's a hand? I'm good. I mean, I have a book. I literally have a book of just hands, which I need to get back to. You know, just get back to drawing hands and I need to get back to looking at like real hands and then drawing them like this. But I can't really do that because I'm still doing the comic book style, so I just need to draw hands. That's what I'm realizing. All right, the hand actually works for me, so we're gonna thicken up the line weight just a little bit. All right, thicken up the line weight. That can't be there. Hands are rough, man. That's just all there's to them. Hands, feet, and heads. Right? So many people are like, oh, the face is so easy. And like heads, hands, and feet, man, are generally the worst. Mostly because, you know, when you see the face, you gotta be like, oh, it's gotta look pretty. You know, we have this ideal understanding of the human figure. So we think everything has to look perfect, right? And they're like, when you ask a lot of artists, they're like, what's the hardest thing you have to do? And they say, drawing the other eye, which is stupid because it's like, well, it doesn't, you know, that nobody's face is actually symmetrical. And even though we're like, oh, but that's the ideal, right? Like we apparently want to be symmetrical, but if you actually go to Google and type in symmetrical faces, there are people who have actually, you know, photoshopped their way into being symmetrical, and it just looks weird, right? Something that you just look at and you're like, something's off. And it's because while we in society want the super ideal of beauty, which is symmetry, right, and the perfect body, we don't have it. And so when we see it, it's really funny. You're just like, that's weird. I'm really happy that I found this in this album. So Zeno, you say you always draw goofy hands. What's your preferred style? Like, are you more of a realistic artist, cartoons, comics, anime. Oops. Drawing the mans, drawing the mans, drawing the mans, drawing the mans. I'm trying to improve to get to the point where I can put out a short webtoons. Yeah, one of my goals. Ugh. So the comic that I want to do, I want to put on webtoons. So I need to stop because I'm actually just procrastinating, which is sad. Because I've had people, they're like, "Hey man, you should really do a comic. You should do a webtoon. It'd be great." I'm like, I guess. So I just need to come in and work on the format because I'm not used to doing, like vertical comics. And that's, as you know, is a webtoon's way. Which adds a completely different dynamic, which I do enjoy. So, I'm looking forward to a new challenge, but I need to finish some commissions first. Once I finish that, I have 2 commissions that I need to finish. Once I finish those, then I need to finish my Marvel work. Then, once I finish that, I can start working on it. Yeah, it was very weird. I was trying to storyboard it. All right. You're just like, wait, what? And it's this format thing, right? Because I'm definitely used to traditional comics, so I'm used to doing it horizontally and stuff like that. And so when I think of a splash page, right, it's like an open book, and so now it's flipped down, and I'm like, okay, that it changes things, right? Just like, And the bad part is like I have to check to see if I can just do webtoons as pencils, maybe add in some blood effects over the pencils or whatnot, because the big thing is, I'm like, man, I ain't got time. Like, it takes me forever, right? And I got a full-time job, kids, so, I'm like, I can't be doing full-on color and not be getting paid for it, And while I know that there's, they have a, like an affiliate program, like I know that, and I'm like, all right, that'd be something cool to strive to. But, if I'm like, oh, I gotta put all this color in here too, and I know that everyone else is doing it, but I'm like, are they doing it once a month? Or is it a once a month upload? Or, and then I see people, they're like, oh man, I'll upload like every week. It's like, how are you uploading every week? I feel like a turtle when I try to do this stuff. It blows my mind how some people put out so many pages in a week's time. Yeah, see? I'm like, I can't, which, begs the question. It's like, is this all you have to do? Because if that's the case, then, sweet. Hold on. Is this... Alright, so this is still Harris. Okay. You just had to make sure, don't want to get any of those awesome copyright strikes when YouTube just decides to, like, when you have autoplay on and it doesn't stick with the stuff you want. And this music definitely went from chill to like. Like, let's do it! Which is cool because, you know. I think we made it to the club soundtrack now. Yeah. Not at all what I was expecting. Not that I'm complaining, but like if I was to do a 24-hour stream, then yeah, we definitely need some of this. All right, and then I know this. This is his synthware. This one I understand. This one I know. What kind of tablet are you using? I am currently using a Huion Canvas 22 Pro. I have to say, I'm normally I use a lot of Wacom products, but I got this as a gift, and my wife gave it to me, and because our old Wacom is very old, and I've used it so much, and it was one of the first ones that the tempered glass wasn't glass, so it was just a hard plastic, and so I had scratched in a wear spot to where I was drawing the whole time, and so it was like, oh, and it was time for a new one. Like, it still worked, but it was like, it's time for a new one. And And so I got this one, and it works great, and it's like a third of the cost for what I'm doing. Like, there's a lot of people who need more pressure sensitivity, right? Because they're painting and stuff like that. I don't, right? Like, I don't need all that. I don't need the pressure sensitivity. So, like, I like what I have, and the canvas has less, a couple thousand less than Wacom, but that's just what happens, right? So, but I do like it. All right, now where is this guy? Just Webtoons, because I was working on the world building environments. No. Where is it? Yeah, so if you're looking for an affordable drawing tablet, I would highly recommend getting a Huion. They work great. Flower screen select, DesignWorks thumb. I need to go. Man, I need to go through. I need to go through my stuff, my hard drive, so that I know where stuff is. And I need to label stuff better too. Sketches. JPEGs. See, I don't know. Zombie weapons, untitled. Twitch stream character. Nope, those aren't it. Where in the world did that go? Because what I'm looking for is a while back I had designed these orbs, right? So this guy is he's an exorcist, right? And he pretty much gets rid of the demons and evil spirits and stuff. But these two, like, he had trapped them. Well, they had pleaded to stay alive. Like, they didn't want to die. And so he was like, okay, well, we can reform you. And he trapped these two separate demons into the ball. And that way, he actually gets powers from them. And he can combine the ball together. And then those two, you know, like, he can actually have them come apart. And he can have them come together, right? And so... and be like a super demon and stuff like that. So they're like working off their penance to become good spirits. 32 Cintiq Pro. I actually think the size makes it more difficult for me to use. You know, I've used the 32 Cintiq Pro, and that thing is massive. It's so big. And I'm looking at like my desk, because I have a small like space to work in. And because my kids are on the other side, so I can't like spread out. And having something that big would just get in the way. Like, it's way too big. Next time I'll probably get a 24 or whatever iteration in the next available decade or now. Yeah, no, I mean, like they gave me a 20. I think it's a 21 or 22, like a portable one, for me to test out and do my review on and stuff like that. And man, like, it's nice. It's so nice. It's so convenient. I don't think anything beyond like 24 is needed. It's really big. I mean, it's nice when you're like, ooh, look at all this stuff I got, but it's so much real estate. I didn't know what to do with it. In the meantime, it's large enough that I can potentially make it into a stand drawing table. Yeah, no, and the glass top is actually really resilient, so that's really good. You know, so you can actually knock that out, so that's good. You know, just put it on there, and the stand has so much resistance to it. It's nice. So, well, our Rise and Grind stream is coming to an end because I have to go wake up my kids so that they can get ready for school. So these ones in the morning are generally about an hour, or if I can get up a little earlier, an hour and a half. Well, no, it was an hour and a half. You know, so I'm trying to get in like an hour, hour and a half in the morning, try and get a little work done, and then we'll stream again later for a longer time. So, but I do have to go because, like I said, gotta wake up my kids. There are a few arm swipes that I cannot execute on other tablets. Yeah, since anything but 24 is probably 99% is what I need personally. Yep. Also large that you really get visual distortion from corner to corner. That sucks. That really does suck. But yeah, so I'm gonna dip out. I'm gonna save real quick. But I gotta dip out so that I can wake them up. Otherwise, they won't be ready for school. So I will see you guys later. Yes, and I'll see you when you're far too late being up. For you Twitch people, if you don't mind sticking around just for a couple minutes while I run this ad, try and make my 4 cents. So, you know, got to try and make that money somehow so I can try and make this full time. All right, man. Well, I will see you guys later.